Every day, millions of Americans use the internet to enrich their lives, engage with their communities, and do their jobs. While most online interactions are positive, the sad reality is far too many Americans having an online presence means being subjected to harassment, stalking, sextortion, and sexual abuse. In recent years, the internet has become an easy way for abusers to stalk victims of domestic violence and prey on vulnerable children. These crimes aren't just one-off occurrences. They're not just virtual. They can destroy lives. One of my constituents received an onslaught of rape and death threats so horrific and explicit that she and her husband fled their home and eventually moved because they feared for their lives. Unfortunately, when she reported these threats to law enforcement, the officers she worked with did not have the training or the resources necessary to fully investigate this crime and bring the perpetrators to justice. And this is just one story. In fact, 20%, 1 in 5 of all adult internet users have been affected by cyber stalking, persistent harassing emails, or other unwanted online contact. One increasingly common form of online abuse involves perpetrators threatening to expose private or sensitive material, including nude images, unless victims produce sexual materials or pay the abuser money. The Department of Justice recently declared that this type of abuse, known as sextortion, is, quote, by far the most significantly growing threat to children, and that, quote, sextortion cases tend to have more victims who are minors per offense than all other child sexual exploitation offenses. According to a 2015 FBI analysis of 43 sextortion cases, at least 2 victims committed suicide and at least 10 more attempted. From self-mutilation to suicide, the consequences of sextortion for traumatized victims can be devastating. If we are going to prevent these types of online crimes, we need to make sure our law enforcement understands how to best combat them. This amendment establishes a grant program to train local and state law enforcement to prevent, enforce, and prosecute crimes carried out online. It creates a national resource center to study these crimes and requires the FBI to update the Uniform Crime Reports and National Incident-Based Reporting System to include cybercrimes. In an economy that is increasingly online, these crimes can profoundly impact career choice and economic participation. My amendment would make sure our criminal justice system is equipped to respond to the crimes that happen online or offline. I urge my colleagues to provide law enforcement with the tools they need to combat these crimes by supporting my amendment. Thank you, and I yield.